Do you feel like politics obviously they've been brewing like crazy in this country the past whatever? Is that something that like I would imagine your clients? Is that something they deal with? Politics?
Yeah, I mean, luckily this year seems to be a little less fraught. Like, thank goodness. Um, but definitely, during the Trump years, I'm just gonna call it during the freaking Trump years, and especially at the beginning of the pandemic, like that was a big issue because it was, and I had people on like the vaccination situation, like both ends of this of the spectrum of like, I need to date someone who is vaccinated, or like I need to date someone who isn't vaccinated. Like it was just like people were really
Wait, so they were going out of the way, like were they approaching it more like were they kind of being like, okay, this person has to be vaxxed, or were they kind of like, okay, this person's cool, but then I figured out they weren't vaxxed? Was it?
I had both. I had both. Yeah, so there was people like, wondering how to put their profile like in a classy way, like you need these politics basically, or like you got to be vaxxed, or like uh please don't be vaxxed. Like just like both both ways of just, yeah, there was definitely an upping of intensity in terms of like you need these kind of politics to date me. Like whereas it seemed like before that wasn't, like that's sort of been an important part of compatibility ish, but
But it was also it was always in the background. I
right.
mean, I wasn't actively on the market or dating pros, but I felt like it was in
Mhm.
the background.
Right, exactly. It was like, okay, well, that's how you vote, but that's not necessarily like everything about you. Like that's not like the first milestone you need to cross in order to date me. Um, and it does feel like since 2020 that it's like moved up in people's, like on people's lists of deal breakers essentially. And yeah, I mean, oh God, ugh,
Would you say that's healthy?
will make me really depressed. Mm, yes
Kind
and
of
no.
healthy to be like transparent with it. Like, yeah, let's not waste our time because if you're a Trump guy, it's not gonna work. If you're not a Trump guy, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, I mean, so yes and no for sure. Because on that hand, on that like to that point of view or whatever is like you have your boundaries, you have your standards, like, and I'll just talk my personal politics. I feel like people who support Trump are just willing enough to allow so much racism, sexism, violence toward people, um, that I personally have a hard time imagining that being a good life partner for me. um,
Well, it says something when it's not a deal breaker.
right. But
Yeah.
so here's the maybe the other side of that is like, but what about like a world in which we all live, which is what I believe in, right? Like, okay, so I believe in a world in which there's space for everyone. And so by me saying like, well, I just absolutely cannot get along with someone who has this, you know, political whatever belief, I kind of discounted an entire person based on one fact, right? Which I have talked to people who support Trump who don't believe that they are prejudiced or acting out, you know, uh, uh, supporting, we could say, like
Mhm.
a racist, sexist agenda um, by that their vote, and so kind of this like black and white thinking terms of like it's like this or it's like that, and therefore like since you this you must believe that or something like that. I hope this is making sense.
Well, it, like I said, it can be healthy, and also because it's funny because you said the Trump years, but Trump was a catalyst. He was a catalyst of this chaos. Because when I met my last partner, Trump had actually barely got elected. I think it was 2017, and we talked and we connected on crazy story. We connected via like it wasn't a dating app. It was actually like a word puzzle app, and it wasn't even a dating agenda. It was just playing like words for friends, like possible whatever. But one of the first things she asked me after getting to know her a little bit was, "Who did you vote for?" Like in a jokey way, in a jokey way.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, not Trump." And she's like, "Right answer." But at that point, she already knew my vibe. She obviously knew I was in a Trump vibe because the things we talked about, my beliefs, the way I carry myself, it was more of a kind of a joke. But to me, it was appropriate.
Yeah.
And up to mom, that was the first thing.
Right.
Obviously, it was a good fun because we were vibing, we were already connecting. And I didn't feel offended by it.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, I
Yeah.
know enough to know I've been. I almost want to say, look at me.
Right.
But that's not safe to say either because there's so many people looking at me.
Yeah.
But that should be a giveaway. My last name and look at me.
Yeah.
Obviously, it isn't. But that's something that. And then COVID happened, and that was a whole other thing.
Yeah.
Because I've had friends, family members who didn't want to get vaccinated, but there's a difference between being like not for me and being anti-vax.
Right. Yes.
And that's what we saw. We saw a braggadocious nature from the Trump supporters that was anti-vax. It wasn't just it's not for me.
Yeah.
I'm anti it.
Like can't do that.
And that's to me, that was insane to me. Because for traveling reasons, then I didn't, to get to my politics, it was whatever. I got vaccinated. Whatever. Also traveling reasons, but other than that, I still got it anyways. But I wasn't over there trying to tell people to get it either.
Right.
Maybe I should. Someone's going to disagree and be like, "You should. You should have been so pro-vax and crashing people." Right? It's never enough for either side. But to see that the anti-vax, that was crazy. And to say something is crazy after 2016, it still went up.
I know. That's
crazy.
Yeah. It seemed like there was an amping up of polarizing opinions. I feel like that's what we're getting at. It was just like everything was like anti-vax or pro-vax. It's like boom, or like Trump versus no Trump was just like woo, and right-wing politics just woof. So it seems like it has become something different. I don't know. Again, so we're headed into this crazy year. So
it's I forgot. Yeah, it's 2021.
Yeah. Like okay, well, I don't know what to tell you right now. Ask me in like 6-7 months, but we'll see. We will see. It's going to be an interesting year.